This video will be a part of the series dedicated to the Turkish brand called Nishane or Nishane. I'm not very certain how to pronounce it. I tend to say Nishane. Most of Nishane fragrances are designed as unisex, but my perception of them that they are either female or male most of the time, and only a few of them are somewhere in between. This video I would like to dedicate to fragrances that are female fragrances in my perception. I'm not saying that gentlemen should not be using them, but I advise ladies to pay attention to these particular fragrances if they're searching for more feminine perfumes of the collection. I'm going to start with the simplest one that is called Tuberoza. This fragrance is very feminine. In fact, it's almost identical to Narcotic Venus by Nasomato. It is a very simple tuberose with lilies and maybe a light touch of spices somewhere in between. But there is no sweetness of tuberose that has that plummy, peachy accord. I'm going to move to another kind of tuberose that you're probably more familiar with, 100 Silent Ways. There's nothing silent about this fragrance at all. This one is a explosion of sweetness of tuberose the way we know it, with a peachy, coconutty, plummy accord. I really love the opening of this fragrance. It has a very tropical vibe, and it reminds me a lot of guava hard candies. It has sweetness and a bit of sourness at the same time. And then tuberose gets fully in bloom together with jasmine and gardenia. And I do like this change from tropical to white floral. It definitely is very feminine. What I don't like so much, and maybe it's just the chemistry of my own skin, is that the molecules of this fragrance become a bit sharper. I wish the dry down was more rounded. The second red perfume in the set is called Zenne. This one is also for females, and I find it kind of interesting, despite that I'm not a fan of roses, and a Turkish rose is really nicely done in here. I really like the opening. It's a nice balance between sour and sweet. To me, it mostly smells like lokum with apples. I don't get the notes that are listed by Fragrantica. The problem that I have with this fragrance is that rose starts coming out more and more, and I really don't like roses. Nonetheless, I cannot stop smelling it. I kind of keep going for more. At one point, I feel that it gets my saliva going, and this can only mean ambergris. There's a very good dose of ambergris. So watch out, ladies, you'll get all the flies in the neighborhood. And by flies, of course, I mean men, because this fragrance speaks to our animalistic instincts. If I were a perfumer and I had an order to make a perfect fragrance for a beautiful Turkish woman, I would create Ani or Ani. This perfume is just wow. It is very obviously feminine for me, and it makes me think of a lady that is selling Turkish sweets, jams, confiture, and of course Turkish lokum. And all this sense of a Turkish bazaar, they come in such a harmony in Ani fragrance. And it just attracts you and draws you with its sweetness, with its feminine sweetness. It has something animalistic about it as well. That is probably explained by the presence of ambergris in the base. The note that is not listed in here, but I feel it pretty strong, especially towards the dry down, when the floral notes have faded away, especially a very strong note of roses. When these notes have faded away, I feel cinnamon. The dry down makes me think of soft woods with cinnamon, still sweet and still really, really nice. Nanshe. The name of this perfume resembles the name of the brand itself, Nishane, and it is dedicated to a female goddess of fertility. So you would expect something very feminine, but I think it still has that cologne vibe at the opening. It is not as strong as many other fragrances of the brand, so I still put it in the female section, because right after the opening you have a lot of flowers that come out. The confusing note in here is called water fruits, because this fragrance does not have anything water in here. On the contrary, this is a very mature rose mixed with jasmine and ylang-ylang that gives it more mature vibe. But overall, this fragrance is representing Turkey very well. There are florals and spices, and of course a Turkish rose is in the heart of this composition. You probably have noticed that a few descriptions of the fragrances I have cut short, and there are two reasons for it. The first reason is because I really want to give you the idea how this fragrance actually smells, because it's very easy to get lost in the notes. And the second reason is that Nishane tends to under-deliver when it comes to notes. They have a lot of interesting notes listed in the pyramid, but in reality many of them are mute. So this will be it for the female section, but I invite you to watch a longer video dedicated to the brand where you can find unisex fragrances and fragrances that I find more masculine.